Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming. Let's talk a little bit of 49er football. If you stick around, you might hear one of my dad jokes. Good morning. Good morning. I have my friend Joe Stevens here. If you haven't met
So,
Joe, this is Joe.
yeah, man, how's it going?
Pretty good. So I am very glad that you're here. I wanted to do a little quick interview with you. Nothing too quick. If you go too quick, you don't get anything done. If you don't go long enough, well, then so
It's boring.
I'm glad you're here. And I want to pick your brain a little bit. I want you to ask me a couple questions about the Niners. Some things I'll probably be able to answer real easy. Some things I might have to get back to on. But it might be the same thing for me. I'm not going to ask you anything too difficult. But once again, I'm glad you're here. I'd like to maybe have you on again. And this is just a morning show, so hopefully everybody has something like nice and warm to drink. If not, it's okay. We know people are watching all over the country, so it's Sunday. This is a relaxing morning. This is a show just to meet a friend. So, everybody, this is Joe, my friend, and good morning, everyone.
Yeah, morning, everybody. How was your weekend first, or how's it been so far?
My weekend's been really good. Really fun. Started out Friday night was my brother's birthday. Got to go down and see him early, and then I went on with Ryan later. No Border Sports. We had a really fun show. A
Yeah,
lot of fun.
I watched a little bit of it. Yeah.
Then later on, Saturday morning, I did my show. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it was a lot of fun. Getting a little bit more and more comfortable doing the YouTube thing, and I think I'm getting a little bit more relaxed. So my things are coming out a little bit better. I feel like at least I feel a little bit more positive, especially when my power doesn't go out multiple times. That that was the downsides of last Sunday show.
Yeah,
So
man. We've been doing it for about the same time, so I'm on the same boat as you.
yeah. So if there's some kinks and wiggles that you guys see, we're still wiggling through this and we're getting better. But once again, thank you everyone for being here. And yeah, once again, had a really good show yesterday. Then I seen Grant was going live, so I called him to Grant. I don't know if you know about Grant Cohn, but he's a lot of fun to talk to in the 49ers world. And then later on, Beto was watching a show. No,
Hmm.
he was doing a show, and my wife ended up winning. That was a lot of fun. So
Again? Didn't she?
three times in a row now. I don't know. I don't want to say it's rigged, but it's definitely really fun seeing her win. So
That's awesome.
I'm going to tell her she might not get to play next time because she's got to get somebody else a chance, right?
Yeah, no. Was Kinlaw in with Grant this weekend?
What was that?
I said, was Kinlaw in with Grant this weekend, or
I
I'm
don't.
just I'm just kidding. That's how everybody outside of Santa Clara knows about Grant Cohn is just because of the Kinlaw thing. So
Yeah, he went national. He got uh, talked about on the Pat McAfee show and yeah, everywhere. New York was talking about him. That was a that was a bad look for everybody there. That definitely wasn't good for the organization. But all three of them came together, the Niners organization, Ken Law and Grant, and they were all able to work it out. So, that's what I like about the Niners is somehow, some way they they come back together and try to work out differences. So
yeah,
I'm
no,
sure
that's
that's with
good.
every franchise, but
Except maybe like the bad ones.
well, yeah, and we won't talk about them because currently we're talking Niners and Seahawks, and right now both franchises have been around and they haven't been doing too bad recently. So let me hear a little bit about you, Joe. If you want to give everybody a little bit of a bio about you, and
Oh, yeah,
go
that's
from
fine. I'm just a Seahawks fan from Washington State that does a Seahawks show, just basically the same as Bryant's show, but Seahawks instead. So I mean, yeah, I mean basically that's it. Back to the Kinlaw thing. I don't know if anybody saw. Ryan made a pretty funny video about the Kinlaw thing. I don't know if you saw that.
yeah, I've seen a couple things, and yeah, they're definitely funny. So
But Yeah, dude. Ask away.
All right. So, you being a Seahawk guy, right? And the Seahawks, they have a name, and everybody probably has a nickname for a team that they don't like, and we won't go there. But the Seahawks, what do the Seahawks fans call themselves, or what does the Seahawks organization call their fans?
Okay, so it was the 12th man for a long time, but then in 2005, I think Texas A&M got mad that we were using it, so we started to have to pay them. And then I think we got tired of paying them about 2018, something like that. So now we're just the 12s. But it's a joke, you know. So we started really coming into what would you say, like our own, right? Around 2012, that's when Russ got here, Bobby got here, and that's when we started playing really good. So the joke is, there's a true Seahawks fan, that's us. We're the 12th man, right? And then there's the bandwagon fans. We call them the 12 since 12. So
Yeah, I've been watching, and I've seen it a while, and I think it's really neat that they call them the 12th or the 12th man. And honestly, that's really clever. It really is. If the fans, the 12th man out there on the field, that sound you hear from the crowd, that really does put a factor into the game. So
yeah, it does. I mean, there's been games where we've won games just due to opponents false starting. I mean, in 2005, I think the Giants false started. It was between 10 and 12 times they false started, and we won that game. Really, we shouldn't have been in that game unless we were at home.
So did you get to see the game last? Well, I'm pretty sure you've seen every game. Do you remember the Raider Seahawk game last year?
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Do you recall the 12th man running onto the field and not getting a flag?
Yeah, that was funny. That was awesome. So I didn't even know until like after the game, because obviously I watched the game, and I'm not gonna lie to you, that was the only game I missed last year. I didn't go. I don't personally. I don't like dealing with Raiders fans in the stadium. It's just one of my things where I'm like, this is. I know their attitude. I've been going to the games forever, and I really don't like going to Raiders games, and especially because of the outcome of that game. I'm glad I didn't go. But so I was even watching that game on the television, right? And I didn't notice it until after the game. I get just like an ESPN or NFL notification saying a different kind of 12th man hopped onto the field, and it was just Daryl Taylor, celebrating. I think he thought he was down or got excited or something, and then he started blocking. It was one of the strangest things I'd ever seen. And it wasn't like he was being an ass about it, right? Like I think he literally just got too excited. So
he definitely got excited. He definitely got excited. He ran out there onto the field, and I think he was like, "Hey, I'm not going to get caught. This is the right moment," and he didn't get caught. So,
well, I think it would have been more obvious if he ran back onto the sideline. I think he was like, why am I out here right now? Oh, shoot, I might as well just do something. I'm on the field. I've never seen anything like it, to be completely honest.
The only thing that I could think of that's close to that would be like not Pete Carroll, but Tomlinson from the Steelers putting his knee out there. That's the only thing that I could think of that's like close.
I still, to this day, see, I'm a big Mike Tomlin fan, to be honest. I don't really like the Steelers, but I'm a fan of Mike Tomlin. Still to this day, I think he was kind of just looking up. The one that was worse was, do you remember the Jets assistant coach actually like put his knee out? God, I forget. I think I could be totally wrong with who they're playing. I think it was the Ravens or something. I could be totally wrong, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
All right, so do you the 12th there was the 12th man for the Seahawks was?
Actually, it's a trick question. So you probably want, if you ever want to do trivia and really mess with people, right? So Sam Atkins was the only player to wear the number 12, right? You have that written down, I'm assuming. Okay, yep. But he wasn't. I'm sure it said Sam Atkins was the only guy to wear number 12, right? Yep. Okay, so remember the tearaway jerseys in the 1970s?
Mm-hmm.
So our starting quarterback, Jim Zorn, got his ripped off, and he ended up having to wear Sam Atkins for the second half one game. So technically, if you want to get technical, there was two players that wore the number 12. before it got retired in 1984. But yeah, if you ever want to quiz somebody and they say one, they're wrong because two players actually wore it. It was only given to one player. But yeah, if you want to get technical.
Yep. And there was a great Seahawk video about it. If you get a chance to go watch it,
Yeah,
the,
NFL Films did it, right?
yep.
Yeah,
And
I think
Atkins was
that.
actually he was actually interviewing people and saying, "Hey, do you know who was the number 12? Did anybody wear the number 12?" And he's in his jersey, and yeah, it was a great film. Great. Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys have
So
anything that you call your fans or anything? I'm sorry, I'm not
no, you're good. You're
just
good.
the
So
faithful or.
the Niners, for the longest time, we call ourselves the faithful. Win
Mhm.
or lose, we're supposed to show up. We show up proud because we support our team. We are the faithful. We bleed red and gold, and that's where we were at. Some people say it's a nation, and that's really horrible. We are not a nation. We are an empire. It's the 49ers empire. You cannot be an empire, if no, you have to win championships to become an empire. An empire is bigger than a nation, right? So yeah, and for me, when people say the nation, I think of the Raiders, like Raider Nation, like that's
Yeah.
their little thing. But for the Niners, like since I started hearing that maybe like in 2000, I started saying no, it's Niner country, like minor Niner country, So that didn't really catch on, but I still say it.
I don't think it's gonna stick after Broncos country. Let's ride. I think anybody that they're like, oh no, let's not try that one.
But Broncos will say it too. It's like Bronco Nation, and I'm like, that just don't sound right. But we're the faithful, even in Santa Clara, San Francisco. Some people are very upset that happened, the move, but we're still the faithful. And seeing Joe Montana and Steve Young go, you still Jerry Rice leave, you're still the faithful because it's not about the name on the back; it's the name up here. So that's why we're the faithful. And we went through a very horrible time during the 2000s, and I know you're probably very happy about that time.
Well, we went through a horrible time in the '90s, which I'm too young to remember it, to be completely honest with you, because I was born in 1997. So, but 1992, right? We had some terrible years. Our offense scored 8 points per game. Your offense averages 8 points per game. I don't know. This way, in the back, that's Cortez Kennedy right there on that black poster back there. He won Defensive Player of the Year on a team that won 2 games. And that's just how terrible our offense was. I mean, it's been we've had definitely a few rough years, but I mean, for the most part, we've been pretty awesome since 2002, since we came into the division.
And that's basically when we started having our problem where we were really bad for a while. We were bad
Yeah.
for at least 7-8 years, and it's hard. You guys went to your Super Bowl in 2006, I think, and that's probably the pinnacle point of our rebuild. That was probably one of the worst times of our rebuild. So
Yeah, 2005, February 2006. Yeah.
that's what gets me caught up too, is because like the Niners went to the Super Bowl in the '94 season, but it was 1995. So it's like,
I always see. I'm one of those weirdos that like I'll just refer like the Seahawks won the Super Bowl in 2013 because that's the season they played when they won the Super Bowl. They lost in 2014, even though it was 2014-15, but it was February. So
yeah, most definitely. Gotta love the Roman numerals in the Super Bowl.
except 50,
Yeah,
except 50 because they didn't want just L, Super Bowl L.
bad for marketing there, huh?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So in 1976, the Niners played the Seahawks in Seattle. Do you know who won that game?
The Niners. That was the first game, right? Or
That was the first game.
the Seahawks' first game. Yeah, the 49ers won. Started off terrible. Lose to the 49ers.
And then you guys beat us the following season, and then it was kind of back and forth for a little bit. We didn't play each other too many times, but
Yeah.
the overall record right now is 30-20. So unless we get like 3 wins against you this year, it's going to take us a couple of seasons.
Yeah, I tell. There was some Niners fan just absolutely talking shit to me, like right next to me, and I go, "Do you know the record between the two teams?" And they go, "I know we've won a lot more than you guys have." And I go, "Just go to Pro Football Reference," and it was 30-19 at the time. obviously it was before the game was over, and I was like, "There, look at that." I don't have to say a whole lot.
So for me, like one of the biggest things for the Niners to get to Super Bowl is to win the division. They have to win the division.
Yeah, we've actually we've been to the Super Bowl 3 times. I don't know about your guys' Super Bowl deal, like where you're seated, but we've had the 1 seed in the NFC 3 times. We've been to the Super Bowl 3 times. That's the only time. That's the only times we've had home field advantage. Every time that we've gone to the Super Bowl.
The Niners have gotten a little lucky here and there, but for the most part, when you do get the number 1 seed, it's the best chances, right? It's just you get the bye, you get everything at home, so it's just a little bit more solidified. The tables
now
are.
Now it's even harder because you get the 2 seed, you don't even get the bye, right? I mean,
yeah, and I don't really like that too much. I think the first and 2 should get, but that would either exclude a team from getting into the playoffs, or that would we'd have to add somebody to make it work. So I don't see that happening either. No. But with the Niners, we've been relevant, and it's been really hard for us to get back to being competitive. For us, we got to a certain point where we weren't getting to the Super Bowl. We weren't getting to the championships games. So for me, I've been pounding the table a lot and saying the way we need to earn our division spot, win, we have to beat the Cards. We have to beat the Seahawks. We have to beat the Rams. Mm-hmm. If you go back into history, you've seen all of those teams. Even before the team championship, the divisions changed. The Panthers were in our division. They made it to the Super Bowl. The Saints have made it to the Super Bowl. The Falcons have made it to the Super Bowl. So all these teams that's played the 49ers in relatively years in divisions have made it to the Super Bowl. Now we have the Seahawks. We have the Cardinals. Joe, I don't know if you have YouTube on in the background, but you might want to mute that because I think we have a little echo.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Let me see. I don't. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Let me turn my screen down a little bit. Let's see if that helps. Go ahead. See if that helps a little bit.
Either way, we'll roll with it. I hear it a little bit, but that's fine.
So I can also do this.
And also, what getting back to it is those teams have made it to the Super Bowl, and for the Niners, we went through an ugly rebuild. We went through a couple of different coaches. We went through different offensive playbooks, and you guys had a pretty solid time. You guys had Holmgren, you guys had Hasselbeck, and then when you did transition, you transitioned into somebody like Jim Mora, right? Or
1 year, yeah.
And he wasn't that bad of an option. I know the Niners were interested in him as well. So you guys have been building your team and doing it very very well over the last couple of years for your template, your guys' overall success since the divisions changed. Mm-hmm. The Niners have been, for the beginning of the rebuild, the beginning of the seasons, because we had Jeff Garcia, we were trying to compete with Kurt Warner and the Rams. And then once they kind of fell apart, we started trying to compete with who? The Seahawks, because you guys were the team that was on the up and coming. And now we finally got into a point where we're consistent, and we've went through our little rebuild, and we have a decent team behind us. And it almost seemed like you guys had a drop off, but your coach has weathered the storm, and your coach has kept everything together. And I'm really, really, really proud of you guys, because for me, again, you have to beat your division to get into the playoffs. And if you can't beat the Seahawks or the Cardinals or the Rams, it doesn't matter who else you're playing. You have to win the division to get into the playoffs. And with you guys having a 30-19 record, a 30-20 record, you guys just dominated us for such a long period of time. And I'm very proud that, like, maybe the tables are turning a little bit, but you guys still have Pete Carroll up there. And I don't know if he's still chewing the same gum or what, but shout out to you guys.
Yeah, and we could say the same to you guys too, because I've talked about this plenty of times, but it's like we dominated the 49ers for a long time, right? I'd say since 2014 was really when it kind of shifted to just us being like dominant over the 49ers, but we saw a problem with the Rams, and you guys would kick their ass. So it just didn't really make any sense to us. We get so pissed because we We hated playing the Rams. The Rams could be a 3-win football team, and we'd be an 11-win football team. They'd still beat us. So it's weird with divisional games because they know each other so well, right? And it's just button heads. So
Were you ever able to see the 2014 NFC Championship game? It's called Rigged on YouTube.
are you talking about the blocked punt or the?
It's like a 40-minute video. It's a breakdown of the championship game. They show a lot of different penalties that happened on the game that necessarily didn't get called.
Mhm.
I know things don't get called and you can't call everything in the game, but that game really, that's probably the one that stings the hardest for me.
Okay.
That one hurts. And then when you can't control it, but when you see like your quarterback Russell Wilson having the ball and it's a delay game and it doesn't happen, and then Colin Kaepernick for the same portion of the game, he has a delay game and the play clock didn't expire. It's just a little bit weird. So I really truly believe home field does have something to do with it, but it's also your guys' stadium. Your stadium is just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. The one thing I am like, obviously, I never want to see the Seahawks get the ball, but when Bowman stripped that ball and had it, and he broke his leg, and he had the ball in his hand, right? And they said it was our ball still. I mean, you think that was kind of weird, but then you look at it, Marshawn Lynch fumbles the next play, and you guys get the ball back right where it should have been. So that one you can kind of wipe off the board. But yeah, there were a few calls, and if you look at it like it's the Kansas City AFC Championship game this year. I mean, there were so many calls against the Bengals that I guarantee if they're at Arrowhead, if they called that against the Chiefs, they wouldn't. I believe there's a human factor in officiating, and I mean it should stop, but it's not going to, right? So
And you can't send everything to the booth. We kind of talked about this a little bit on Ryan's show, and you can't send everything to the booth and say, "Oh, well, we'll just let a robot or some official in a different city call the game." When there's a delay, you can't just like stop the momentum of the game.
I like
It's
the way the XFL does it. I really do. I don't, the XFL is what it is, but I really like the way they, at least you can. Somebody was saying it might have been you, it might have been Ryan, but you like how the Dean Blandino can talk you through what's going on. So even if the call doesn't go your way, it's not like, oh man, they're screwing me over, right? Like you at least hear what they're saying. With now in the NFL, it's such a secret, right? Nobody's allowed to know anything. Hear what they say, the call's the call. And then you have to bring in a guy like Dean Blandino or Mike Pierre or Pierre, whatever, to tell you why the official made that call. Well, why not just let them tell us why they made the call?
Yeah. It's like you can't just, you got to let the game be played, because at a certain point, there's a penalty that can happen on any play. You can call a penalty on every play if you really want to nitpick. And you got to remember that the refs are on the field and they are human and they have to protect themselves too. So sometimes they have to run out of the way. Sometimes they're in positions where, they can't necessarily backpedal, So I don't blame the refs, but it's really upsetting sometimes when you do have like those calls and it's just like, I'm going to touch a little bit like my uncle. He's a Packer fan. And I said this the other night too. He actually jumped in the stream, which was really neat, but he pointed it out to me, the catch with Steve Young and T.O., Jerry Rice fumbled, and we didn't have instant replay, and they didn't review it, and we got away with that one, right? So what are your thoughts with like the game with Aaron Rodgers and the Seahawks and the refs coming back? You remember that game?
Are you talking about the NFC Championship game?
Yeah, where the interception happened in the end zone, but it wasn't really an interception because the other guy, like, I mean,
Oh no, that was just a Monday Night Football game.
I thought it was the championship game. I thought that one decided you guys going to the Super Bowl.
You mean the Fail Mary play?
It might have been it was the game that brought the refs back for sure. So it might have been.
Yeah, so that was just Monday Night Football, week 3 or 4, something like that. It was so weird because the replacement refs suck. I mean, we got away with one. I mean, you got to look at it this way, though. It's just one game. It wasn't the NFC Championship game. It wasn't a playoff game. There was nothing on the line. You lose that one game. You control your own destiny. If it would have went either way, I mean, it was good in the case that it brought the real officials back. I mean, obviously we got away with one there. I mean, what can you say?
And that's my point basically too, is just like sometimes you get away with games, and then the ones that you don't get away with, those are the ones that maybe sting a little bit more, because that's you're like, hey, it happened before, we got away with it, and that magic happened, and maybe you ran out of magic a little bit. So
well, I don't know if you were to type in like worst officiated NFL game of all time, probably Super Bowl 40 would come right up there, us against the Steelers. There was so many. I totally get what it's like to be on the bad side of calls. I was 8 years old at the time. And I just remember from that moment on for the next couple of years, I was like, damn, refs have it out for us. But they did that game. It was insane. I mean, just the offensive pass interference.
The Steelers have kind of been on the better end of that kind of Super Bowl refereeing, because I think they got a couple of good calls against the Cardinals too.
I obviously didn't pay as much attention. That was a good game too. I didn't pay as much attention to that. It was obviously the Super Bowl that we lost.
Kurt Warner, man. I mean, for so many years, I hated that guy. I wanted Niners just to beat him. But then when he went to the Giants, and then I didn't know why he really set back, and Eli Manning started playing. Now I know that, NFL rules, film and stuff like that. The videos, he said, "Oh, I wanted to sit and let the guy start." But when he got his chance to come back and start, he showed he still had something in the tank. And I'm like, why didn't the Niners try to go after this guy? I mean, like, we still had Alex Smith. I get it, but we were going up and down with different quarterbacks at that time too. We had Ken Dorsey, JT O'Sullivan. There's just so many different quarterbacks that the Niners have had in the Alex Smith era. It's like it was Alex Smith's team and everybody else who was backup quarterback. So it's
to Tommy, I know he's probably messing with me. He goes, "Nah, the Steelers won that game decisively. Go Steelers! Sea Chickens, thumb down." I'd say just rewatch it. Just rewatch it. You'll see we had a few points that were taken off the board.
Yeah, there was definitely some questionable calls. I liked Matt Hasselbeck. I remember the game where he played against the Packers again, and he come out with the coin flip, and he was like, "We're gonna win the game." And I was like, "Well, you guys got a quarterback. You guys have a quarterback. At least somebody who's confident in himself, and that's what you need."
It didn't work out though.
No, what was it? An interception right off the bat? Yeah.
No, that's the thing. It was 2 drives. It was our second drive. He threw the pick 6, so we got the ball. We didn't score, like he said, but whatever. We punted. They didn't score. They punt it back to us, and then he throws a pick 6, and it's like, okay, well, maybe don't say that again.
Man, I'm gonna have to go rewatch. I don't like arguing or contesting, but I thought you guys got the ball. He comes out, boom, throws an interception, and then Woodson ran it all the way in for a touchdown.
And also it was actually Al Harris.
Al Harris, okay.
Yeah, but no, just
I'll rewatch
it because the only NFL Films wants you to think, right? It's NFL Films wants you to think, boom, he came out, you threw it first pass. No, I think there was 11 minutes on the clock when he threw that.
I'm gonna take your word for that one, because
but you could also rewatch it, and if I'm wrong, post it up, be like, Joe Stevens is an idiot. That's fine. I'm just kidding.
All right, so who's your favorite player?
Right now or all time?
All time and right now. You can give me 2 answers.
Can I give you 3? Because I'm tied for the all time.
Yeah, you're Mount Rushmore, or your top fave.
I like Kenny Easley, Cam Chancellor, are my 2 favorite. I love safety. So they're like our version of your guys' Ronnie Lott, right? I mean, just hard hitters, just ferocious. Right now, I really like Woolen, our rookie cornerback. I really like him. I think he's awesome. He's so fast. There's plays where you'll think he's beat down the field, and you're like, what is this guy doing? But he is so fast, and 6'4". I mean, he's insane. He's awesome. And it'll take a while to get him polished up. Obviously, he played receiver in college just like Sherman did. So there were some hiccups, but definitely towards like the quarter way through the season, that's when he hit his stride and just never looked back.
All right. Yeah.
But go ahead. How about you?
So my favorite players would be Steve Young. He's the
Mhm.
quarterback I started watching when I was a little kid. I like Bryant Young, and I
Oh
like
yeah, I liked him too.
yeah, Bryant Young's my guy. I like Jerry Rice. I wouldn't. Jerry Rice has to be like everybody's top favorite, right? And he really is. He really upset me when he left and went to the Raiders, but I watched all the Raider games with my dad, so I still watched Jerry and rooted for Jerry there. It was upsetting when I seen him go to the Seahawks, and I was really upset when I seen him in the Broncos uniform. But I really,
I,
really didn't like you guys having Jerry. That wasn't fun.
I was gonna trivia you and ask who he retired with, and I thought you were gonna say the Seahawks because that's mostly what everybody says. But I think what he just played the preseason with the Broncos in
Yeah, they
05.
didn't want to give him a starting position, and he didn't want to play four string. So I get it, but that's Jerry Rice. You guys, let somebody sit down. You get him, number one or number two on paper, and then maybe let somebody else split snaps or something. I don't know, but I'm glad he's not a Bronco either. So that's forever, forever Rice, right? Young and
Yeah, and
Rice.
that's the thing with Jerry Rice is that everybody will remember him in a 49ers uniform. They're not going to remember him in a Seahawks uniform. But some people remember him in a Raiders uniform because he was still kind of Jerry Rice. But, I mean, he's a 49er through and through.
When Tim Brown and Jerry Rice teamed up with Rich Gannon, the Oakland Raiders were very, very good. Very
Yeah.
good. They had Charlie Garner from the Niners, too. I mean, it was just like, wow, you guys took our best running back and our best wide receiver right now. Well, maybe not our best wide receiver because we had T.O., but T.O. didn't know what Jerry knew. And, there's some things Jerry you can't teach, and Jerry's not going to teach. The running up the mountain or the hill. Have you heard about that with Jerry Rice?
You told me about it, yeah.
So there's this like training exercise that Jerry Rice does, and it's like it's insane. And other players they can't keep up with it. They can't keep up with it. And to this day, Jerry Rice can still perform it, and there's people that just can't keep up with it. So it's like sometimes people they grind, and that's why I don't understand what you have in certain players and they say they need more reps and this or that. Well, then why isn't somebody out there like if I was an NFL quarterback, right, or even a kicker or something? You got to believe it. My brother's going to be holding the football for me while I'm kicking the football, like on the weekends and I'm out at work. I'm going to have one of my buddies, I'm throwing the passes to in the park or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why these guys are rusty or they don't have like, I mean, like, dude, if you were on a team with me, I'd be like, you and me live in the same, apartment or something like that. We're gonna go train out together every night or whatever. I mean, like how dedicated do you want to be to your skill and your craft? It's like I know mechanics don't want to come home and work on their own car, but a lot of mechanics have cars at home that they have to restore or they're working on because that's their hobby, that's their passion. So it's like
Yeah, we do, but it's not. I hate working on my own stuff eventually
yeah,
now.
yeah, I have a couple projects and it's fun to work on, but you don't want to have to work on it, especially after putting in a good hour, a good day for work, and it's just one of those things. But it
Yeah.
just you're a professional and you're getting paid how much? Grind. I mean, like you're only out there for how many? The average NFL career is what 4 years. So
I think it was. I thought it was less than that, but you could be right. I thought it was even less. I didn't think it was quite 4 years.
and it really
Is it?
depends on the position too, because I know there's like some positions that some players get lucky and they get to play for 20 years, but that's not everybody. That's not
No,
everybody at all.
no, and that's the thing. Going back to Jerry Rice was just insane. That he was that old playing a position like that, and the receiver was not protected like they are today.
No, definitely. My dad used to say too, he's like, watch Jerry Rice. He's gonna get the ball, he's gonna catch the ball, and he's gonna drop down before anybody gets around him. And I'm like, okay. And I started noticing it more and more with his career. And yes, when he was wide open, he took it to the house, but when he thought he was gonna get hit, he started going down further, further and faster. And it preserved his career, I believe. I really do.
And that's what Lockett does. I don't know if you watch Tyler Lockett much, but he does the same thing. And some fans get pissed. And like at first, I was kind of like, "What are you doing?" And then, but he's never really hurt. He's
Yeah.
never really hurt. He broke his finger this year. He came back after 2 games. I mean, I think it's smart because at first I was like, "Man, what is this guy doing?" You get that extra 2-3 yards, but if we can get him for an extra 2-3 seasons, it makes up for that extra 2 or 3 yards.
sometimes availability is the best availability, and sometimes if you can't stay healthy, it doesn't matter if you have all the talent in, the world, you can't get on the field. If
Yeah.
your Achilles heel is not being healthy, then, let's take the guy who's got, a little bit less and let's try to work with that. It's like kind of the mentality with like Kirk Cousins. The guy doesn't seem to get hurt. I'm not advocating for us to go get Kirk Cousins, but it's like if the Niners had a quarterback that could just stay healthy and manage the
Well,
game.
if you guys just played at 10 a.m. on the East Coast on Sundays, I'm sure Kirk Cousins would be awesome. But if for some reason it's 1 p.m., 5:30 p.m., he can't. I mean, I thought it was a joke for a while, and then I actually watched him, and I was like, somebody's right. Maybe it's a mental thing. He's just a morning guy.
Yeah, there's some quarterbacks out there that it just doesn't work out for them, and it's hard. It's really hard because with the relationship that those two guys got, Kyle and Kurt, it's hard for that conversation ever to really truly stop.
I actually totally forgot. I was wondering why you brought him up. I totally forgot he was with the Redskins or Commanders. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
he is.
forgot that it was like him, McVay, and Matt LaFleur, right? Wasn't all three of them? Was it
Yeah,
McVay too?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's that Kyle's little tree right there. I think one was like a wide receivers coach, the other one was like a quarterbacks coach or something like that. But they all were there. And
Yeah. Mike Shanahan really ruined RG3's career, though. I mean, can we at least agree on that?
it's very sad, very very sad.
And it was
Um,
against us. So it was a 2012 wild card round. And he's playing out there, and you're like, dude, I kind of like, obviously you want to beat him, but it's like, just go, just get out. Because he was like, that was the year the read option was huge, right? Like 12, 13. And he was running those read options, and he was basically gimping to the sideline. And you're like, dude, just get this guy off the field. And then finally got, I think it was a low snap, and boom, tore his ACL. And that was the worst. But everybody advocates for natural grass. I'm more of a turf guy myself. I think somebody said it, yes, maybe it was last week. Have turf and grass, but have everybody play on the same turf and the same grass. I mean, it's not like teams are using AstroTurf anymore. It's not, obviously you walk on the field, it's not like it was back in the day where it was like this thin and then 6 inches of concrete underneath it. But at least, that field was a hazard. We lost Chris Clemens that game too, one of our pass rushers. And I really think we might have made it to the NFC Championship round that year if Chris Clemens was on that team still. So
yeah, the whole thing with the fields and stuff like that, I really wish it was a little bit more equal, fair.
mhm.
There's stadiums now that have natural grass. Their stadium actually their field goes outside their stadium and then comes back in.
Yeah,
That's
Vegas does that. And I
so
think the Cardinals do it too, right?
I believe so. And it's really that's neat. That's really neat. We have that kind of technology now, right? So there would be a bunch of stadiums that need to get rebuilt or redesigned. I get that. Like Lambeau, they have actual like heat warmers in the field, so when they freeze and stuff like that, they can warm up the field and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different stadiums that do different things, but the San Francisco Giants play on Kentucky bluegrass. I've been on the field. I seen them resodding the grass. I asked them, I said, "What kind of grass is that?" Grass seed. I wanted to get a handful and put it in my pocket, but I didn't get that brave. But they said it's Kentucky bluegrass. So why can't they have that throughout the whole NFL? Why can't all the NFL teams that have regular grass, boom? And I don't have a problem with AstroTurf either. If you go back to like the Niners division before everything got changed, we played the Saints, AstroTurf, the Falcons, AstroTurf, the
I
Rams.
mean, that was old school AstroTurf though. That was
But
where no
but they didn't
cleats.
seem to have the same injuries, or maybe they had different injuries. And that, I mean, I remember Garrison Hurst getting injured. I remember Marshall Faulk getting injured. I remember a lot of players getting hurt really bad on AstroTurf. But those teams had a different field, and the Niners played AstroTurf 3 times out of the year on a really horrible field. And then those teams came to like Candlestick and played on a really horrible field because Candlestick's the cleats you'd have to put longer cleats in because of the water that would cover the ground. So I mean, I get it. Like that's your advantages of home field advantage, right? Like, oh, we know what type of cleats to wear, and oh, you know it's going to hurt when I hit you in the middle of the field. Obviously, everybody should know that. But like maybe like I think it was Marshall Falk when he come running off the field. I think he slipped. No, it wasn't him. It was Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush slipped, and he ended up breaking his foot or something like that, running into the wall in St. Louis. I can't remember if that was the player, but that was a big turning point. It's like these guys got to be a little bit more healthy, and they got to be a little bit more protected too on the field. And if they could get stadiums that are a little bit more unified, right? Or where they are similar, a little bit
I'm
more
fine.
similar.
I'm fine with both turf and grass. At one point, I kind of wanted everybody to go to turf, right? Just because you see those messes like in Washington, and you even the Super Bowl this year, the grass was like all messed up. But I think
Well,
if you can have grass and turf, but make them all be the same, just be like and make them pass it. I'm sure they have to do some sort of an inspection before the game or whatever, but the the fact that in 2012 that stadium was so messed up that Washington, I mean, there's no way that anybody looked at that and was like, "Oh man, this looks safe." That grass, it was so messed up. It looked like there was potholes in the field, like you'd be practicing when you were in elementary school out in the field, up above the baseball fields. Back in the day, there'd be potholes when you're running.
and see, I understand it's like the owner's job to maintain the field, or it should be the owner's, the team's individual jobs. But why isn't the NFL coming in and taking a little bit more accountability for some things like that, where we know there's an issue? And like the Jets and the Giants Stadium, I think that's turf, but there's been so many injuries on that turf field, and it's a different type of
Isn't that
turf
so
field.
odd too?
It's just really weird. I played a little bit of football in high school, and I got to play on a couple turf fields, and they do feel weird. They do feel weird, and I got to play on that like new style turf where they have the clump of rubber
Rubber pellets.
particle. Yeah,
That's what I played on. Yeah, that's what I played on. Except I played on AstroTurf one time, like old school AstroTurf. The thin carpet with
yeah,
the concrete under, and that sucked. I don't advocate for it. Thank God that's not in the NFL anymore because you'd fall down. On grass and on field turf, you get turf burn still on field turf, but on that stuff, dude, you'd have to wear like long sleeve basketball shoes. I don't like that.
nah, I don't like it either. All right, so I think this would be a good ending question. I'm gonna ask you.
Oh, one sec first.
All right, and you ask
Who's
away
your
any questions. I'll wait for this one for the end.
who's your favorite current 49er? I don't think you answered that.
My current 49er would probably be. It's a toss up. I like Robbie Gold. I like George Kittle. I like Kyle Juszczyk. I like I like Debo. I really do like Debo. Um, yeah, I mean those are my guys right now. I like Trent Williams.
Yeah, he's awesome. How old he is? I mean, just
But yeah,
awesome.
I like Kittle a whole lot and Robbie Gold, Juszczyk. Those are my guys. Debo, of course. I like Brandon Ayuk, but I like Debo's like explosiveness. I think
Mhm.
we can't replace Debo. I love Ayuk, but I think you can get another Ayuk. I really do. Or something similar to him. Maybe you can't replace Ayuk, but I know you can't replace Debo. I like Ray McLeod. I really liked his pickup this year.
He's the punt returner, right? Kick returner.
Yeah, yeah. He's number 3. I really liked him. I like Fred Warner. Really
I
like
like
Fred
him.
Warner.
That's my guy. Like if I were to the 49ers, people ask like who scares you the most on the defense. I think I talked to platform 246
Yeah,
last
Lawrence.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, I kind of asked him what player most scares you on the Seahawks, and he asked me on defense, like who's, and I think it's Warner because the way that defense plays in unison, and he relays all that, and he's still fast, sure tackler, and he can catch the ball if I'm not mistaken, right? He's had a few picks, so I think starting with him, if I were to start a defense for the like with a 49ers player, put him right in the middle, and that's where you work your way out from there. So.
Yeah, very, very good point. He's our Mike. He's our captain on the defense. I think with Jimmy Ward leaving a little bit, I think maybe a little bit more pressure will be on him. And I think when he first got the mic put on his helmet, he had a little bit of a learning curve right there. But he's very good, very athletic. If he would have got just a little bit of little bit higher up, he would have knocked that ball down in the opening game against the Packers a year ago, and it's just like he's getting better and better every year, and he's teaching players like Hufunga and stuff like that to, hey, this is what you got to look for, because he does play a lot on instincts, but Warner, I think Warner's not just instinct. I think he knows so much tape too. I think he's just very prepared, very well
Well, and
prepared.
Bobby was the same way, right? Like he came up in 2012. So Earl was already there 2 years. Cam was already there 2 years. Sherman was already there a year. He was a young guy, right? And then as those guys slowly went away, it was actually not really slowly went away. It was like 2017, boom, we're done. 2018 is a whole different team. The only one that came back was Earl, but he broke his leg 5 games in. And same with Bobby. I mean, it really shows how much a leader they are when they lose those guys behind them and in front of them that have been there forever, right? And then they're the guy in charge now. And I think Warner's one of those guys that'll step up just like Bobby did. So,
I'm really excited that you guys got Bobby back.
me too.
I don't think he really wanted to go, and I don't think the Niners were willing to pay what he wanted. But I think we could have had him last year. I just it really sucks that he went to the Rams. I mean, the Niners and the
At
Rams.
least he went to a team that didn't do much, right? Like
That's true, and that's like that was the thing with CMC. Just like the Niners and the Rams are in this like bidding war right now because the Rams just won that Super Bowl and the Niners are trying to get there. So
mhm.
I'm really glad he didn't go and stay there very long. And I'm glad CMC didn't go there because that would have been like CMC went there to die or something. It's like
Well,
I
I
don't
don't
think.
know. I don't know if you were on with me. I think you were on. It was a Friday night call-in, and it was before Bobby came back. And I go, I really want Bobby Wagner back. And they go, they said, you think he's going to come back? I go, listen, and they asked if we want him back, right? Obviously, and I go, listen, if Patrick Willis went and played 1 year for Arizona or LA, then he got cut or got released, wouldn't you guys want him back too? Isn't it? That's basically he is our Patrick Willis, right, in this city. So
Yeah, I mean we took I think did we take another chance on Navarro Bowman after he left the Raiders? I can't remember. I can't remember, but yeah, that's the same mentality. It's kind of like when a player leaves and you already know that it's like Kerry Hyder. You know, we shouldn't have let him go. Then like he went up there and he didn't do much for you guys. We got him back. He did okay again. So, but yeah, I'm like, those are my guys. The Niners have always been my team. They've always been my team since I was a little kid. And win or lose, it does. It takes a little bit out on me when the Niners win. I have a little bit more of a step in my step. I like the week coming up. I don't really talk a bunch of trash, but it's like I don't like it when we lose. I don't like going to work and hearing other people tell me that they lost or this. It's not. I already know they lost, but when you rub it in, there's a difference, And I'm not one of those guys that want to add salt to the wound. You know, I I come into work very modest. I'll have my nice jacket on. I'll take it off nice and slow and hang it up on the coat shack, and everybody they'll be like, "Oh, Bryant said, yeah, it's Monday morning, Niners won." It's like, but I don't like gloating because again, you can gloat all you want. I'm gloated by just smiling and wearing my jacket. And then when they lose, I still wear my jacket. I just I don't come in with a smile so much, right? So
That's how I am. So 365 days out of the year, I wear something Seahawks. I either wear socks or an undershirt or a sweatshirt or whatever, just on a normal day, right? So that's my weird superstitious thing. If I'm not wearing something Seahawks, I'm like, oh man, this is bad luck. I gotta get back home, put some socks on or something.
yeah, yeah. I got the 49er socks. I got that stuff too. It's just you gotta love family members. If you know a little bit about me, I'm a big 49er fan. I also love Batman. I love
Yeah,
my
that's what you were
family,
saying.
and I love God. And if you get me something in between any of that, if you get me something about my family, I love it. Like one of the best gifts I was ever given was a magnet. It's a magnet of me and my wife, and it's got me and her in our gold jackets. So now I got the magnet on the fridge. and it's a great picture. That's one of my favorite gifts. Um, but yeah, it's my family. They always try to get me something 49er or Batman, and it's always nice. I end up buying more like Raider stuff and other team stuff than 49er stuff because everybody seems to buy that for me, and it's just one of those things. Like when I go and see a hat, I'm like, oh, I want that hat. And then the next thing I know, my wife buys me the residency hat, and it's like if I buy everything, then what do you just gotta get me a gift card? No, you gotta let other people kind of buy you stuff too.
I'm one of those people. I'm so bad at it. I work in downtown Seattle. And so I pass by the pro shop all the time. And I'm like, oh, screw it. I'll stop in there. And then, I get a discount obviously for the season ticket. So I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I can do that. I can do that. So I have like literally every jersey that's hanging on their wall, not in every color, but I have every player's jersey that they have hanging on the wall. So it honestly gets kind of boring because you'll go there and you'll look at the wall and you'll be like, oh, well, I guess I'll buy a hat or a sweatshirt or something like that. So
That's awesome. Yeah, for me, like a lot of the cool finds that I find is I'll go to like the flea market.
I love doing that.
I'll
Yeah,
go to
me
the
too.
thrift store. And honestly, like this jacket came from the thrift store. I have a 49er barbecue helmet. I'll take a
Mhm.
picture and send it to you sometime. I got it from the flea market. Um, I'm not ever going to get rid of it. It's just a small Weber barbecue. It's got the helmet on it. And what's really awesome is the Niners had two different emblems. They just designed it a little differently. They split the helmet with the red and white. They changed the stripes for, I want to say it was from the 96 to maybe 2002 season or something like that. And then they went back to the old style helmet. So my dad actually found a barbecue too. He found the opposite 49er barbecue. And I've been trying to get it from him for years now, but he keeps joking with me and telling me he's going to paint it Raider. And I'm like, no, you're not going to strip the helmet and paint it. He's like, but that would be a true Raider barbecue. You stripping the Niners. I'm like, oh, no. Don't do that.
Yeah, you see that old school Seahawks helmet behind me, the
Yeah.
silver one?
Hmm.
That I actually got at Value Village. Or no, did I? No, I got that at a garage sale. Yeah, I'm the same way. I love thrift shopping for Seahawks stuff. Like that's the first place I go. So like here in Washington, like when you go to Value Village or Goodwill or something, you have they have their own Seahawks section because so many people, and that's the first place I run to. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, I mean that's like sometimes people pass away, their stuff gets donated. Sometimes people stop liking the team and their stuff will get donated. It's just you don't know if you don't go. I found cups, I found glasses, I found like not forks, but I even have a 49er Foundation noodle um handle. I
Oh
grab spaghetti out of, like I'm
yeah.
like, and it says the 49ers on it. I found it at the thrift store. I was like, that's brand new. I'm taking that, boom, happy. So it's fun for me. It's sad sometimes, but I have noticed sometimes you'll find more of your team when they're in a losing season.
Oh, bro, 100%. And that's when I capitalize. That's when you got to go to the thrift store.
Yeah, and that's where I really take pride in being a fan and, considering myself a true fan too, because win or lose, I'm still repping, I'm still grabbing my stuff, when I get an opportunity. I can't buy everything, but when I can
Mhm.
afford something, hey, I'm gonna pick it up. And that's where I see you at too. That's why I wanted to talk to you because I feel, very, very strongly you're a true Seahawk fan. I don't do a lot of stuff with Seahawk fans. It's one of the teams that, um, you guys have beaten us for so long. It's really hard to really talk nice with people like you because for a long time I thought you guys were juicing. I thought your whole team was juicing, and that might not be the case anymore. And that's going to really be my closing statement. Is what are your
Okay.
thoughts on Richard Sherman? And
Sure.
before you say anything, I got to show you.
I figured you were gonna be wearing it. I heard you saying you had one. What are my thoughts on Sherman in general, or
General, and what's your thoughts on him as a Seahawk? What do you think about him leaving? Everything.
well, he didn't choose to leave, right? He was another one of those guys. We cut him, right? And he talked a bunch of crap, leaving. Well, I guess let's get started to his first season, 2011. He comes in, Marcus Trufant gets hurt. You're like, man, who is this guy? Because at first, you get burned a little bit, but man, who is this guy? And by the end of the season, he was by far, I guess I lied, because we had Browner on that team too in 2011. He actually made the Pro Bowl. I don't know if you remember him. Big, scary.
I remember his last name. I don't remember every player, but I remember names.
Him and Cam put the boom in Legion of Boom. It wasn't just Cam Chancellor. It was number 39 too. Yeah. I mean, he was a big dog, right? So anyways, but you got this Sherman. He just found ways to get to the ball, pick the ball up. Pardon. And then, and then he was awesome. I love players like this because you get to watch him grow and develop, right? But the problem is with Richard Sherman, so obviously All-Pro, didn't make the Pro Bowl in 2012, but he was named AP All-Pro. So that people didn't like him very much, obviously. He was a talker. And it was that team. Sorry, I'm rambling on here.
No, that's why I want you to come on. I want to hear your thoughts because Sherman destroyed our team for several years. He put a thumbprint on us that will never be removed because of the Seahawks Super Bowl. I think the only way he would have got it removed is if we would have got a Super Bowl with him. But that's why I want to hear your thoughts.
So 2012, 2013, 2014, we had a lot of big personalities on the team, right? And then that team was just so awesome because for Richard Sherman, right, talk so much. You had Cam Chancellor right behind him, or sometimes it was right beside him, right? Because he was more of a box, hybrid type safety. But Sherman, we embraced him as a city, right? But then eventually when your team starts losing or not doing so well, or there'd be a rift in the locker room. I mean, we obviously didn't lose with him. We never had a losing record well, I guess I lied. 2011, we had a losing record. He was a rookie. We went 7-9. Those personalities turn into egos really quick. When you're winning, it's all fun. Oh, they're just personalities. Oh, they're just doing their thing. When you're not doing so hot, it's, oh man, I'm tired of this guy's ego. And by the time Sherman was out of here, we were all kind of tired of it. And it's like there was a point in time when he always had a chip on his shoulder and he went after, the national media. Well, then the national media started giving him, they did nothing but praise him because he'd go on Skip and Shannon, or not, it used to be Skip and who's the other guy? First Take, Stephen A. Smith. He goes on there and he destroys him, right? So nobody wants to talk bad about Richard Sherman. So then he goes to the local media, right? And guys with the press passes that come in every weekend. And then it turned into whole show. But so we released Richard Sherman, right? And what we said is, okay, Richard, we'd love to have you on the team. Go get your best offer and we'll see if we can match it. Well, the Niners gave him an offer. He came back and we're not matching that. So he left and he was pissed. And I was kind of more excited to play against him than anything, right? I never hated Richard Sherman. And even when he was on the 49ers, I couldn't hate Richard Sherman. I mean, look at what he's done for this whole city, right? There's only a few players that when they leave here, I really don't like. And Russell is one of them. I think I spoke loud and clear about that. I was done with him a year before they traded him. I was just tired of the drama. But, and then I wish Richard would have came back instead of going with the Buccaneers. But I think he's, they get old and they want another ring. So, but yeah, no, I love Richard Sherman. And now he's much, much more of a loud Seahawks supporter than he has been in previous years, especially since number 3's gone. They didn't like each other very much. So,
yeah, I got the love-hate relationship with him. I hated him when he was there. When he came to the Niners, I started really loving him. My wife and me were talking this morning before the show, and she said he really did just shut down one side of the field, didn't he?
Yeah,
he really did, from the middle of the field, from the center over, you did nothing. And I was like, wow, wow. And I'm very, very happy with his production and his. It just really sucks that we had the COVID year after that, and then just everything after that. But
well, if you think about it, I'm sorry for taking your time here. I apologize, but
no, we've got plenty of time, man.
So Sherman, back in the day, you had Earl playing center field, free safety, and he was the best in the league. And I don't care. I don't care what you say. Earl was he may be weird. He is weird, but he is probably the best, cover 3 free safety in the world because he was so fast. He had such great instincts. So as long as Sherm could help out on that right side of the field or as long as Earl could help out with that right side of the field, and you had Sherman covering the left, it didn't really matter who played right corner for us.
Oh man,
Because
yeah,
it's Maxwell left, Lane left, all these players leave. We developed defensive backs. They play great in our system. It's just like you guys do with defensive linemen. I think I was talking to Ryan about this. And then they don't play very well, and then they come back and they play good. That's it. That's how it is. So
yeah. I mean, like that's you guys for a long time, and with I know you don't like Russell Wilson a whole lot, but for that little leprechaun up there, and he was a leprechaun. Now I think he's an orange Oompa Loompa. Uh,
yeah,
but for him for so many years, like the Niners would almost win the game. It's getting closer and closer. We're going to win the game, and then what happens? He pulls around and runs around in a circle in the back, and then throws the ball to somebody who's wide open because why? The defense was covering. We were covering for such a long period of time, and then boom, somebody got out of containment, and then we get a big. So for me, like I'm glad he's gone as well. I really wanted to see the Niners beat him, but then Jimmy and his pick 6. Whatever you want? Yeah, safety. I mean, like, oh my god, I thought you'd only see that with Dan Orlowski, but you never. That's why people say, oh, that will never be replicated again on the NFL. You don't know that, man. People might do it just a little differently, but it's gonna be something really similar. So.
I will admit the Dan Orlovsky one was way more funny because it was like he just kept running, right? And then you have Jared Allen in the background. I love Jared Allen. He is one of my favorite pass rushers of all time. He's just such a weird personality, right? Like how can you not like the guy? He's just in the background going like this.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah. So, real quick, you got anything going on with your show, your channel this week? And
yeah, so Monday I'll have Levi on. He's a Ravens fan. He comes on every Monday. And then so far it's just Wednesday. I think we'll be on Ryan's channel this week. We'll do our little rivalry crosstalk, our weekly rivalry crosstalk, which I have a lot of fun with. I think it's awesome. And and then basically probably go on No Border Sports on the Colin Show on Friday. Just my normal week. How about you?
Yeah, basically probably the same. I'll probably call on to Rombo a couple times this week. I like Rombo Sports. If you haven't heard him before, you should try to listen to him. He does have Seahawks fans that sometimes call in, and he's very polite. He'll listen to you if you want to call in too and talk a little bit. He'll talk to you. And I actually encourage you to call in sometime the Niners are playing the Seahawks because you and him could have a real good conversation for a while. I'll be listening to my normal shows throughout the week. Corey, I think tonight he'll have a call-in show. Not a call-in show, a trivia show. Corey Davis. So if you guys aren't, subscribed to Corey Davis, go check his channel out. Lockdown Corey Davis.
With Corey with a K. By the way, tell people that because I couldn't find his name forever. He came on. I went on the call-in show. And I'm like, man, I really like this guy. He seems like just a straight-up nice guy.
Yep.
I'm like, what? He doesn't have a channel. I was like, what is everybody talking about? This guy doesn't have a channel. And then I learned it was Corey. So that's how I found. It took me about
Corey's got a good channel. He does the trivia some nights out of the week. He does a hangout show, and then during the season, and I hope you jump in too. During the season, he does weekly picks. So you don't have to be you don't have to be a Niner fan. You can just and you can be in the chat or on the show, and we go round robin, and we all say who we think's going to win, and you can briefly say why for a couple minutes, and the longer your explanation is, the longer the show goes. So sometimes we want to get through that quick, but it's so much fun. It really is. And then Ryan will probably have his call-in show. I'll try to call in with him on that for Friday. I've been having a lot of fun with that. We go on.
Sorry, I wasn't able to go on. I was all the way up in Mount Vernon, actually right by where Ryan lives, but we went up jeeping this weekend. I think I sent you a video.
Yeah. So, and I was going to tell you, that's really, really cool. It was like, what, Seahawk blue right there? I seen it?
Baby blue. It ain't no Seahawk blue. That's actually my dad. So my dad passed away. I have 2 Jeeps myself, but that one's his, right? So he passed away, and obviously I got it, right? And that was my first time going out jeeping with it since I've been 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
So usually I take mine, but I was like, you know what? I just got to get over the fear that I'm going to break something on this and just take it. And it'll be really good. But about one more thing about my dad. The last game I took him 2 weeks ago, the games all the time too, was 2 seasons ago when we beat you guys on that fake punt, and I couldn't ask for a better last game to take my dad to. I
Yeah.
think that was awesome. And then the week after that, we beat the Texans, and then yeah. So I mean, he had a good last couple weeks with the Seahawks. So
It's really cool that you got a Jeep. My brother, he's got two Jeeps too. He likes going off roading a little bit too. I'm going to show him that video you got. He's got an older Jeep. He's going to try to turn into a crawler.
oh, that's
And
awesome.
then he's got a newer Jeep. His girlfriend fiance has got a newer Jeep, and they love it. They really do. I own Volkswagens. Yeah, I got a Volkswagen
Volkswagen.
Bus, and I got a Carmagia. My wife's got a Carmagia, and I
Wait, a bus?
yeah, yeah.
Man, you need to take that tailgate in the Niners games, dude. You need to make it into a tailgate bus.
Well, see, that's my ultimate goal one day is to take my Volkswagen Bus to different stadiums and tailgate, and you have fun. I mentioned this a little bit before. It used to be a red bus, and I don't think I'm ever going to paint it red again. I don't want to drive to certain cities and stuff across America and just get shot at because my vehicle is a certain color.
It's
And
safe. It's safe up here. If you ever want to bring it up here, you might get some booze, right? If you put a big Niners logo on the side, but you'll be
I
safe
mean,
up here.
for me, it's kind of like maybe I'm just a little bit cautious, or I don't know. I'm a little nervous because like my bus is primered out gray and white,
Mhm.
and it's got tinted windows, so it kind of looks like a Raider bus. But if you look at it, I got highlights of red on it. My rims are red. My hubcaps are red. I got little things, But I open up my door, you can see the red inside because the door jam's not painted. But I've been around people and I've seen people key cars and just do ugly stuff to people's vehicle because opposing, team, and they just want to be a jerk. And I'm like, man, so I'm really even scared to put like stickers on it or anything like that, because I'm like, I just don't want my stuff getting torn up because even when I park out like in front of Walmart or something, I'll park way out by like the end of like in the middle of the parking lot where nobody's parking around my vehicle. So I can like, there's a video camera, you can see somebody coming up on me, it's just like, again, like if somebody's going to do something, I don't want to live in fear forever, or even live in fear right now. But it's just my mentality is, I'd rather walk further up to the store so no one's running their shopping cart into my bus or hitting it with their car door or anything like. Sometimes people suck, and you gotta do your job to make sure that you're in a better position where you don't have someone messing with you.
I don't know if Seattle's just more of like a chill place or whatever, if that makes sense. Everybody's a hipster. I'm obviously not a hipster, but parking on Seahawks games, I never have any worry about nothing like that. So, but obviously I got a Seahawk. I just have a little Seahawks sticker on the back window of all my stuff. It's not like I go all out or nothing, but
Yeah, and like for other people who does it, like I appreciate it. Like there's a guy in town, he drives around with a Raider bus, and it's actually a bus, like a little mini bus, not a Volkswagen, and it's all painted up Raiders and it's got flags and stuff. And I think that's really cool. I don't even want somebody driving through in the middle of the night and egging my bus because they know I'm Mr. Diner or whatever like that. And it's like,
or calling more attention to yourself, people stealing it, right? Because then you're like,
yeah,
somebody, you just have a gray Volkswagen van. People are gonna be like, oh, okay, got all decked out and stuff. People are probably like, oh, dude, that'd be cool to take.
yeah, I don't like for me, like it's not what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside, and if my family's safe on the inside and we're comfortable, that's where I'm at, so I like to keep my eyes on the inside of my yard. And if I don't water my grass, it's on me. But I'm not poking my head over the side and saying, "Hey, water your grass," so
Yeah, that's me too. I grew up with only one neighbor. Actually, kind of with the woods was between our house, and now I got a neighbor, and they're kind of on me about stuff. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do it. Not like rude, but they're just like, wow, it's been about a week and a half since you mowed your grass. They're into mowing their lawn. I mean, like nobody else. And I'm not really into mowing my lawn. I don't like it very much. So, yeah, I have a neighbor now. Or actually, I have two neighbors. So,
And real quick before we get out of here, I've been up there to Washington. My grandmother, she used to live in Chehalis, and it's fun. I've been to Olympia a couple of times and
mhm.
driven from Stockton to Washington several times. It's like a 14-hour drive. It's a lot of fun. We made it in 11 hours one time, but we won't talk about how fast it was. But one thing that I've noticed up there in Washington is it rains quite a lot. It rains for like 2 days a week, doesn't it? Like once for like 3 days and once for 4 days.
See, the thing is, I don't think it rains as much as people think. I think it's more gloomy. It's just more cloudy all the time. I don't think.
You heard that joke, though, right? You heard
It's
that
snowing
joke.
right now. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm like, but no, I don't. I mean,
You've heard
it's
that
awesome.
joke. I know you've heard that joke. It rains like twice a week in Seattle. Once for 3 days and once for 4 days.
Oh, I didn't even get it. Sorry, I totally misheard that. Yeah, it rains a lot, but I wouldn't say it was. I wouldn't say it's as
It's
much
not
as
that
people.
hard. It's not that harsh.
No. But anyways, yeah, everybody shout out to everybody in the comments.
Yeah, sorry everybody we didn't get to you. Me and Joe are just talking. Like to do this again with Joe sometime. Some different topics, different questions,
I'm
and maybe
always
next time we'll be a little bit more interactive. But
yeah.
Hey, shout out to everybody. We got Brian, Tony, Bebop, Mariah, we got Tommy, David. There's so many of you guys, and I really appreciate every one of you.
Yeah,
Tony,
and go follow each
like,
other or whatever. Subscribe to each
yeah,
other.
Carcast. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. A lot of people, and if you guys haven't, East Coast Red and Gold. This is Jess up here. Hey, Jess. She's awesome. She supports everybody. She just got an autograph with Fred Warner the other day. The cones for the end zone. I think that's what she got autographed. Bebop Jones. I mean, everybody, and so much support, and we really do appreciate it. I do this because I like to talk and I like having fun, and I appreciate Joe. Joe's a real good guy. If you guys haven't subscribed to him, check him out. If you guys are interested in doing any kind of collab or anything, you need a Seahawk guy, this is your man. Joe, very knowledgeable and very, very well mannered. Can't say any more. I mean, probably one of the best guests I've had so far. And I haven't had many, so I'm not saying that's not saying much, but I've had a lot, and the ones I've had have been great. Joe, thank you.
Yeah.
You're great. And again, check me out. I'm on, here, YouTube. Joe's on YouTube. He's
Give them
also
a
on
thumbs
Twitter.
up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, tell your friend, and come back in if you guys got questions next time. We'll try to get to those a little bit more. But once again, I hope everybody has a great Sunday night. Go check out Corey Davis tonight. He's going to have a great show, and interact in the chat, or go ahead and interact on the panel if you want, call in. But once again, guys, stay faithful, stay true to your team, win or lose. The draft's coming. Maybe me and Joe will jump in here before then or a little bit after then. But once again, it doesn't matter if you're a Niner fan or if you're a Seahawks fan. We're all people in the end, and we all root for our teams. So go Niners. Bring it in there.
Yeah, go Hawks.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thank you guys.